Hey guys, today's video we're going to talk about the Holy hubs. So it's a fairly new product. We haven't done an official, review or anything like that on them. A lot of guys think that it's a gimmick, which we're not really into that. So that's why we're making this video. But right now we have kind of a test car. This is one of my own spec racer cars. It's a V1. Has standard rear end setup on it right now. And we have the Holy hub set up here. So we'll actually we'll go run it and we'll do all of the swaps and then we'll come back up and weigh it. All right, you know what, screw it. We'll just weigh this thing right now. So Holy hubs, I mean, they're a ton lighter. So they got a bunch of holes in them, which is why they're named the Holy hub. But let's just throw this on here and see what we got for a complete setup. So exact same setup, same crown gear, all of that stuff. We'll put this in grams. Okay, tear it. All right, so that setup 1.079 and our Holy setup is 0.927. Okay, so about 1/10 of a gram right off the bat right there, assuming that I'm using this thing the correct way. You could look at ounces too if you like ounces. 327 or 0.0327 on the Holy and 0.038. So no way to deny it, definitely lighter. Does it run better? That's what we're gonna go find out. So I'm gonna pop the tires on here. And we're gonna go back and see. So we'll use exact same tires and I'll do a few laps, make sure that the tires and all that stuff are seated. And then we'll swap it out and we'll see what happens. So let's head back to the track. All right guys, we're out at the track. First up's the regular hub, so let's get stuff adjusted here. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Okay, so this car runs pretty decent.
John's over there playing Legos.
So we'll push it until we are sure that we've got everything we can out of it. Since this is one of my test cars, I'm not afraid to push it and crash it. But it is getting close to that limit. One thing we have learned in the past is a lot of times the S's, or where the car changes directions, is where the biggest differences are made. So let's run a couple more laps, make sure our tires are nice and seated. I just want to make sure that I'm running close to that lap time. Crikey. Okay, so we ran a 259, but I think we only did that like once. But we're gonna go ahead, pop the tires off. 59 with a 6. Shoot, before we do that, let's run it on the drag strip. My bad. We are gonna see too if this makes a difference on the drag strip. What lane were you running earlier? Yellow or gray?
We'll run yellow.
Okay. So car staged. We'll just see what it runs over here. Okay, pretty good lick. $591. Okay, so 0.591. 54, and then over there we ran a 2.5.
5.9.
9.6. Okay. I'm gonna have to let, it's not really hot, but in order to make the test as like the same as possible, I'll let it cool down a little bit. I mean, it's not hot at all to the touch, it's just warm. Okay. Make sure tires are nice and clean. Okay, let's see what we get here. Okay, that was fast lap. It's only a 58. That lap right there would have been faster. So we're gonna see if it feels like there's about a 10th in it. Whew. I'm just getting a little too aggressive. So I was watching those lap times and it was running 261, 260, 262, which that's real close to our 259. We barely went faster though, like that's nothing to get too excited about in my book, but so I just can't drive it, but it's definitely faster. I feel like it's faster here and in the S's, which is kind of the same thing we found with the independent front. These spots here, it's like wheeling out of the slot, which, you know, I could probably mask that with my driving just a little bit, but I'm also I'm pushing it. I'm trying to get max lap out of it. So those were 58.4, 58.6. So it can consistently run right there versus just a hero lap. So I'm pretty happy with that. Probably could run, you know, since it's lighter, you probably could run a little bit lower tire if you wanted to, which is going to give you a little bit more performance as well. But let's see if we can beat this 591. So 591 with a 7. Let's see what we get over here. Okay. Okay, barely, but faster is faster. So what was that, 589 and 54. So I think it was 54.11 last time, or whatever you guys saw it in the video, 54.63. So change is a change, you know. We could, just to make sure, you know, and usually when I do test parts, a lot of times for the videos, we're just doing a simple, like, kind of a here you go test. But when I really test parts, I will go back and forth between what we were testing and to just make sure that, like, I'm not getting better at driving or whatnot. So we can throw that 58.2 up there. Okay, that was the first go around. And on this one, we'll just see, I'll reset it because I really am curious to see where, like, our middle lap time is. Let's see. Because that last time I was watching that, and, you know, and I'm hustling the car, but I was also seeing that we were running 258s, like, so it's pretty cool.
So is this the standard wheel?
Yeah. Okay, so that 64. Ooh, right on the corner. Also too, I mean, something to keep in mind, I did clean the shoes, I oiled it. It was like as fresh as it was gonna get for that first run. Shoot. But right now, I mean, like I said, usually when we're product testing, we'll go back and forth a couple of times to make sure that we're not missing any variables. But kind of giving you guys a look into also, like, you know, you could, when you test stuff too, like instead of just testing it and thinking, yeah, it's better, like really put that thing to the test, go back to what you were running. Okay, so I mean, I'm pushing it pretty hard right now to try to get into the 50s again. So that was a 61.5. So we'll run it over here again real quick. Just doing another test. I'm okay if it's slower. That doesn't bother me. We're real close, 59.6 to a 51 or 61. Okay, so 595. So we'll write that up here. 595 at 53.77. This one was a 261.5. Okay, I'm gonna actually do this real quick while it's still pretty toasty. That way we're really not giving, we are giving away performance, but we're not giving any bias toward either of the two. Oops. But the car is definitely up to temperature now because that's what my finger's telling me. Okay, so that was a 57.4, which was faster than any of the passes. And I still think there's more in it. So that was a 52. Okay, so I feel good with that. That was me being on top of that thing. So 52 to a 61. So that time, whoops, I blew my mic off. That time we were almost a 10th up as far as the whole track goes. So that's, 40 some foot lap. This is only a 15-foot test, so the margin is not gonna be as much obviously over here because we're only dealing with 15 feet, but let's see what we get. Okay. Okay, so it slowed down big time that time, which obviously all of these numbers are worse than that. And I could tell too, it stopped like in this area. Usually it was going past that. So it could just be way too hot now. I don't actually know on that one. Let's give her one more shot while it's still at the same temperature. Okay, so that went back where it was. So it went past this same mark. It's kind of weird. And 584. So 584. So we're looking at 1/100th, so 0.01 difference on 15 feet. So if we do that times 3, it's 0.03. And so, I mean, if we add 0.03 to, what do we do that time, a 252? 252. So you're still at, you know, 255, which we didn't see on the road course. But I was just seeing if that correlated some way. It doesn't look like that it does. And that's probably just because this is it's a straight track. It has more effect over there. But the consensus for sure is that it's better, it handles better. To me, I don't really usually care about like fast lap. I'm more looking at like what the median time is. So I don't know if Sam, if you want to video, this while I run, once I get going, and just, you know, I want you guys to just watch what the lap time is each time I run through there. And we'll just see like how consistently fast I can go with this thing. Shoot, right into the wall. Okay, so this is about race pace. Now I'm gonna push. See if I can squeeze some more out of it. Okay, so, but that's what happens. That's the difference right there. Like, what was that, half a tenth? Basically the difference between coming out of your race pace and then crashing. So, but, you know, hopefully you saw the consistency there. I think we were going between like mid 60s to low 70s. It's pretty dang good. That's really what good parts, actually, that's what they do, is they make you more consistently faster. It's not all about that fastest lap, you know, because they could be weak and break, and who wants that, you know? So like, we've crashed it hard enough here into this, tumbling down the track into the end of the straightaway, and no broken rims. That was another thing. People were like, oh, I'm worried that the rims are gonna break. You know, we designed them in the way that the holes are. There's almost zero strength loss between how it was, or a stock one that's undrilled, and the drilled one. You're just lighter, which there is some point where, you know, you can make it lighter, you can remove material and have almost no impact on strength, but you reduce weight quite a bit. So, and a good example of that is like if you took a piece of bar, the longer that piece of bar is, even though it's solid, its own weight, if you hold it out straight, it will sag, versus a short piece won't sag. But if you had a piece of tube that was a lot lighter, it could do that, and it could hold its straightness. And that's an example of something that, you know, it might have to be a different material to be the same strength, but the point there is that just because it's heavier doesn't actually mean that it's stronger. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you have questions or anything on that, or if you think I'm full of crap, go ahead and put it in the comments, and we'll be happy to answer them, any questions, or just give you a reaction. So we'll see you on the next one.